For 3 weeks, I lived 2 lives. By day, I followed orders, ran diagnostics, and kept my head down on Marcus's team, pretending I'd accepted my demotion. By night, I rebuilt my prototype in Naomi's workshop. Every piece, every joint, every hinge meticulously redesigned. The space wasn't fancy. No high-tech labs. No state-of-the-art tools. But it had something far more valuable. People who understood real-world problems. Miko, a technician who repaired mobility devices in underserved regions, shook her head at my original design. This joint fails constantly. Dust, grit, it locks up. I stayed late that night, redesigning it with a sealed bearing system that could be cleaned with nothing more than a damp cloth. Each fix, each tweak, each adjustment was a lesson from the field, a whisper from the users who would eventually rely on my invention. By the eve of the Foundation's annual mobility conference, I had not only rebuilt my original prototype, but created 3 additional devices, each targeting different mobility challenges. All worked without electricity. All could be repaired with simple tools. All were affordable for communities across the globe. Naomi stopped by for a final check. Her gaze swept over my work. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" I ran my hands along the wheelchair prototype, designed for rough terrain, easily adjustable for growing children, repairable anywhere. "I've been ready for 2 years," I admitted. "I just needed someone to see it." The next morning, a storm pounded the city. Rain lashed at the windows as I carefully transported each prototype, keeping them covered under tarps. I called in sick to Marcus's team, a fever that was partly real, mostly fear and anticipation. At noon, the devices were set up behind partition walls, hidden until my scheduled demonstration. Industry leaders, government officials, and medical professionals filled the hall. I peeked through a gap as Marcus strode in, confident as ever, shaking hands and laughing. He had no idea what was coming. At 2:30, Naomi took the stage. "Today is about innovation that serves real needs," she announced. Her eyes found mine. Not technology for its own sake, but solutions that work in every context, from urban centers to remote villages. Our first demonstration embodies that philosophy. Please welcome mechanical engineer Claire Reynolds. The partition slid back. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Devices stood before them. Sleek, functional, radically different from the flashy electronics dominating the market. My gaze caught Marcus's face. Shock, disbelief, and then something darker. I stepped forward, voice steady. "These devices address different mobility needs," I said. "They function without electricity. They can be maintained with basic tools and manufactured at a fraction of the standard cost." I moved to the first wheelchair, demonstrating its adaptive terrain system, showing an attendee how it adjusted automatically to rough surfaces. Questions came fast, but I answered each with clarity, showing repairs, explaining mechanics, and proving its durability. When the applause finally came, it wasn't polite. It was genuine, excited, urgent. People surged forward, leaving cards asking about licensing, discussing deployment. Marcus lingered at the edge, blocked by the crowd, his confidence evaporating. Then Naomi appeared with an older man I recognized instantly, Victor Larson, the semi-retired founder of my company. His eyes widened as he studied the prototypes. "Fascinating," he said, running his hand along the frame, "especially since your manager claimed these concepts were abandoned as impractical." Marcus's jaw tightened. I could see the panic rising in his eyes before the crowd even realized it. By the next morning, Marcus wasn't just furious, he was plotting. And I was about to learn that his next move could threaten everything I had rebuilt. My phone buzzed incessantly that night. Messages, missed calls, all from colleagues who had attended the conference or heard whispers of the demonstration. I ignored them. I needed silence to process the chaos I'd unleashed. Then, just past midnight, Marcus's name flashed across the screen. 5 calls in a row. I took a deep breath before answering. "Hello, Claire. What the hell were you thinking?" His voice was tight, controlled anger barely restrained. "You destroyed my work." "I rebuilt it with my own hands," I said calmly. "Every prototype was made outside company resources. Your accusations are false." A pause. Then, almost pleading, "I've always valued your creativity. Maybe I was too harsh. We can integrate some ideas gradually. Just Put in a good word with Victor. Please. I felt a cold surge through me. Every dismissal, every public humiliation, every stolen credit flashed in my mind. Some things can't be fixed once they're broken. Like trust, I said quietly. Then I ended the call. The next morning, pounding on my apartment door jolted me awake. Kata, a colleague I trusted, stood there. You need to come in now. Marcus claims you stole company designs. He's preparing termination paperwork. My heart slammed against my ribs. I grabbed my coat and we drove through the storm. Kata filled me in. Half the executives were outraged they weren't informed about my work, and the other half scrambled to claim they'd always supported mechanical innovation. By the time we arrived at the building, chaos had already taken root. Security directed me straight to the executive floor. I stepped into the conference room, storm clouds darkening the city behind floor-to-ceiling windows. Victor Larson sat at the head of the table. Naomi Vale to his right, our general counsel Lena to the left, and at the far end, pale and tight-lipped, Marcus. Claire, thank you for coming, Victor said, voice steady. There's a situation requiring your perspective. Marcus opened a folder, his accusation sharp. These prototypes were developed using company resources. Unauthorized demonstration. Clear breach of contract. I took a breath. Every component is mine. Developed outside company property. Based on graduate work I retained rights to. I can provide evidence. Lena, flipping through documents, raised an eyebrow. Documentation? I slid my graduate design journals across the table. They outline everything. Dates, designs, stress tests, all predating company employment? Marcus scoffed. Convenient but irrelevant. My team contributed innovations during your employment. Victor's eyes narrowed. Which innovations specifically? Marcus named one. I held my breath. Naomi interjected. I reviewed Claire's graduate work. The mechanisms match her original designs perfectly. Company contribution is minimal to none. The room went silent. Rain hammered against the windows. Marcus's expression shifted from defiance to calculation. He realized the game was slipping from his hands. Marcus thought he could manipulate the board and destroy my career. But what happened next in that room would leave him speechless and rewrite everything he thought he controlled. The room was charged, heavy with tension. Marcus's smugness was gone, replaced by something jagged, desperate. Every eye in the conference room was on me, waiting, measuring, judging. Victor leaned forward, voice sharp. Marcus, you were hired to expand our impact in underserved markets, to nurture innovation that aligns with our mission. Instead, it appears you've actively suppressed the exact kind of work we should be championing. Marcus's hands clenched into fists on the table. The market demands modern electronic solutions. Investors expect sleek, trending technology. Mechanical approaches are obsolete. Obsolete? Victor's calm snapped. The market isn't homogeneous, and this company was never built to chase quarterly trends. We solve problems that matter. Your actions have blocked innovation that could reach thousands of people globally. I watched Marcus's face cycle through shock, fury, and finally a cold, calculated calm. The last mask he always wore when cornered. Naomi slid a tablet toward Victor and Lena. I documented everything, every component, every design, every test. This is Claire's work, developed outside company resources. The foundation only provided space and artisans to rebuild what he destroyed. Victor's gaze swept over me, firm but approving. You've been systematically undermined for nearly 2 years. This ends now, Lena spoke up, professional but unyielding. Claire, we have documented proof. We also have witnesses from your department who can confirm resource misallocation, project suppression, and interference in meetings. Marcus, this is serious. He tried to speak, but Victor cut him off. No, enough excuses. Your deliberate destruction of a colleague's prototype in front of a client, misrepresentation of work, and hostile environment are unacceptable. Lena, prepare separation paperwork. Effective immediately. Marcus's jaw dropped. You can't do this over a difference in strategy. Victor leaned back, his eyes piercing. This isn't strategy. It's misconduct. And the board will fully support this decision, especially after yesterday's demonstration, which generated multiple licensing offers we almost missed because of your actions. The room went silent. Even the storm outside seemed to pause, as if holding its breath. Naomi looked at me, calm but proud. You've done more than rebuild your work. You've proven that integrity and creativity can't be destroyed by one person's arrogance. I felt a rush of relief, yes, but also validation, not just personal, but professional. The months of sabotage, humiliation, and stolen credit all led to this moment. Marcus's power crumbling while my vision finally stood unshakable. As security escorted him out, the echoes of his footsteps against the marble floors felt like a final punctuation mark. My work, my innovation, had survived. And now, finally, it would reach the people who truly needed it. But even with Marcus gone, this was only the beginning. The next challenge wasn't just about proving my designs. It was about leading an entire division and showing the world that my work could change lives forever. The next morning, sunlight streamed through my apartment window, but the warmth didn't fully reach me. The victory yesterday felt surreal. Marcus was gone, the board aware of his deception, and my work finally recognized. Yet, the reality of what came next, leading a division, building something meaningful, was daunting. Victor called me personally. His tone was unusually soft, almost fatherly. "Claire, I want you to lead a new division focused on mechanical adaptive technologies. Full autonomy, full support. The Foundation has expressed interest in a formal partnership with us, and your prototypes sparked inquiries from governments and manufacturers worldwide." I swallowed hard, excitement and fear colliding. I'd need complete control over design direction, my team, and transparent access to leadership whenever concerns arise, I said carefully. Victor and Naomi exchanged glances. Victor nodded. "Completely reasonable. You'll have it." For the first time in years, I felt in control, not just of my career, but of my vision. The following weeks were a whirlwind. I handpicked engineers and designers who shared the same passion for accessible, durable solutions. Every day was a lesson in leadership, patience, and innovation. I watched my ideas evolve, now amplified by a team that understood real-world needs. We refined the wheelchair design, improving durability while cutting production costs by nearly 50%. We developed adaptive prosthetics that could be maintained without electricity, lightweight crutches that doubled as transport carts, and mobility aids designed for children growing rapidly. I spent hours in the workshop, sleeves rolled up, hands dirty, side by side with my team. Naomi visited often, offering insights from the field, connecting us with technicians from remote areas who provided feedback directly from end users. Every adjustment, every improvement felt personal, not just engineering, but a mission to restore independence and dignity to people who had been overlooked for too long. One evening, as I tested a prototype over uneven concrete, a local child approached, eyes wide. "Can I try it?" she asked. I nodded, heart swelling. Watching her maneuver over the bumps, her smile lighting up her entire face, I realized something crucial. The work wasn't about boardrooms or contracts. It was about real people, real impact. The Foundation had been right. Innovation didn't need permission, flashy presentations, or approval from people blinded by prestige. It just needed someone willing to fight for it. And after everything Marcus had tried to destroy, I knew I wasn't just building prototypes anymore. I was building possibility. But just as we prepared for our first international distribution, a shocking message arrived. A potential partner threatening to pull millions in funding unless one condition was met. The crack of breaking metal echoed across the room like a gunshot. My heart stopped. Pieces of my prototype, 6 months of sleepless nights and everything I believed in, scattered across the polished conference table before tumbling to the floor. "Garbage," Marcus said flatly, brushing a sliver of plastic from his sleeve as if my work was nothing more than dust. "We'll start over with a real design team." The silence that followed felt heavier than the shattered metal between us. Every executive, every engineer, even the client, frozen, watching the ruins of what had been my dream project. That prototype wasn't just a product, it was proof. Proof that a small idea from a nobody could change how people moved through the world. And now, it was gone. Across the table, the client, a woman named Naomi Vale, CEO of a major rehabilitation foundation, studied the debris with a calm, unreadable face. Her gaze slid from the broken parts to Marcus's smug grin, and then landed on me. Her voice, when she finally spoke, was cool and deliberate. "Can I have your contact information?" The words hit me like a spark in a blackout. I blinked, unsure I'd heard right. Marcus's smile faltered. I could almost see the irritation, tightening his jaw as I fumbled for a card, one of the cheap ones I'd printed myself after he'd forgotten to order mine when I got promoted. Naomi pocketed it without looking at him. "Thank you for your time. I'll be in touch." Just like that, she stood and left. When the door closed, Marcus turned toward me. "Clean this up. Maintenance doesn't handle failures." His tone was calm, too calm, the kind that hides satisfaction. He wanted me humiliated. As I knelt on the floor, gathering the shattered fragments of my own creation, the room emptied. Tiny titanium hinges rolled beneath chairs, each one catching a flicker of light before disappearing into shadow. I could feel everyone's footsteps leaving, one by one, until I was alone. That prototype had been my answer to global accessibility, a mechanical mobility system that worked without electricity, affordable, durable, repairable anywhere in the world, and he'd destroyed it. When I looked up again, Marcus was gone. Just me, my shaking hands, and the ghost of what I'd built. But what none of them knew, what even Marcus couldn't see, was that something inside me had just shifted. He thought he'd broken me. He'd only sparked the beginning of something bigger. What happened next wasn't revenge. It was transformation. And it started with a single unexpected message that changed everything. 3 days passed. 3 long, silent days, where my phone stayed dark and my mind replayed that meeting like a bad dream I couldn't wake up from. I showed up at work pretending nothing had happened. Marcus strutted through the office like a man who'd won. Everyone avoided eye contact. No one wanted to be associated with the woman whose project had just been publicly destroyed. That morning, I was reassigned to assist another department, a polite word for demoted. By noon, I sat at a different desk, surrounded by cables and sensors, running diagnostics for a team that barely noticed I existed. I told myself I was done, that I'd keep my head down, do the work, collect my paycheck. But that illusion shattered when my phone buzzed late one night. Unknown number. "This is Naomi Vale. I'd like to discuss your designs privately." I stared at the message, my breath caught halfway between fear and disbelief. Naomi Vale, the client whose company supplied thousands of mobility devices across the world, wanted to see my designs. The next day, we met at a small rented workshop on the edge of the industrial district. The air smelled of oil and sawdust. Old machines lined the walls, and sunlight cut through the windows in sharp golden stripes. Naomi stood by a work table, sleeves rolled up, her expression calm but curious. "Relax," she said, almost reading my tension. "I'm not here to get anyone in trouble. I'm here because your design solves problems the industry keeps ignoring." She gestured for me to open my sketchbook. "I know what happened at that meeting," she continued, "and I know who destroyed your prototype." I swallowed hard. "Then you also know it's gone." "Then build it again," she said simply. Her words hung in the air. "I don't have the equipment, or funding, or use our workshop," she interrupted. "Use our technicians. Our foundation supports innovation that actually matters. You'll have full creative control." I hesitated. "Marcus will find out." Her smile was small, almost conspiratorial. "Let him. By the time he does, it'll be too late." That night, I stood in the empty workshop long after she left, my hands tracing the edge of the workbench where I'd begin again. The fear I'd carried for weeks was still there, but beneath it, something new had taken root. Resolve. He'd destroyed my work once. I wasn't about to give him the satisfaction of watching me quit. For the next 3 weeks, I lived a double life, engineer by day, rebel creator by night. But the closer I got to success, the closer I came to being exposed. 2 weeks into the first production cycle, the phone rang. I recognized the number immediately, an executive from one of the largest international distribution partners we'd been courting. "Claire," the voice was polite but firm, "we've reviewed your prototypes and the initial feedback is promising. However," I held my breath. "However, there's a stipulation. We cannot proceed unless the designs are fully integrated under your company's oversight, meaning Marcus's former team would need approval authority over certain elements." I felt my stomach twist. After everything, the sabotage, the humiliation, the betrayal, they were effectively asking me to compromise everything I'd fought for. "I'm sorry," I said carefully, "but my team maintains full design authority. I cannot hand over creative control to anyone who previously undermined this work." There was a pause. "That may affect funding," the executive warned. I hung up and stared at the wall. It wasn't a threat. It was reality. Every innovation we'd created, every late night, every sacrifice, could be stalled or derailed by people who didn't understand its value. Naomi appeared at the workshop door, sensing my tension. "You look like you've seen a ghost," I explained. She frowned, thoughtful. "They're trying to protect their investment, not sabotage you. But you've got something far more powerful than funding: credibility and results. Don't negotiate your vision away." That night, I gathered my team. We worked late, reviewing every prototype, every production plan, every manufacturing process. Our goal wasn't just to satisfy investors. It was to prove that our designs could operate anywhere in the world, under any conditions, without compromise. 2 weeks later, we sent our first international batch of devices to 12 countries. Within days, feedback started arriving. Children navigating rough terrain to reach school, adults maintaining independence despite unreliable power, communities learning local repair techniques that created small economic opportunities. Emails and messages flooded in from organizations we'd never imagined reaching so quickly. Our work was changing lives. Every letter, every photo, every report validated the months of struggle, humiliation, and reconstruction. Marcus, meanwhile, had secured a position at a competitor. Rumors suggested his reputation had suffered irreparable damage after the conference demonstration went viral in industry circles. As I watched a technician in a rural village adjust one of our adaptive wheelchairs with nothing more than a wrench and a cloth, I realized something profound. The most powerful victory wasn't legal, financial, or corporate. It was creation. We hadn't just rebuilt what Marcus had destroyed. We'd built something larger, more enduring, and far more impactful than anyone, including him, could have imagined. But just when I thought we were unstoppable, a mysterious message arrived with a single line. "You're about to lose everything you just rebuilt." I stared at the message on my phone, the screen glowing ominously in the dim light of the workshop. "You're about to lose everything you just rebuilt." My pulse raced. Who would send this? Competitors? Former colleagues still bitter about the conference? Or Marcus? Before I could even respond, Naomi's call came through. "Claire, are you okay?" Her voice was calm, but I could hear the underlying tension. I don't know," I admitted. "Someone just sent a threat. Everything we've worked for, it could all vanish." She sighed. "Threats happen when you're doing something right. But remember, you've already survived sabotage, humiliation, and attempts to erase your work. Don't let fear paralyze you now." I set the phone down and looked around at my team. Each face reflected determination, trust, and a shared belief in what we were building. The thought of losing this, after everything, was unbearable. The following morning, the threat materialized in a different form. One of our largest potential distribution partners pulled out unexpectedly, citing internal compliance issues and concerns about intellectual property. I froze. Months of planning, prototypes shipped, feedback pouring in, and suddenly, funding and distribution could evaporate. Naomi was immediate and unwavering. Claire, we anticipated pushback. This is why we documented every design, every test, and every communication. The proof is on our side. We'll fight this. But fighting meant navigating corporate bureaucracy, legal threats, and global partnerships, all while keeping production on track. I called a team meeting. We can't stop. Whatever comes next, we move forward. Every delay we allow, every compromise we make, hurts the people depending on us. We built this for them, not for fear. For the next week, the workshop became a war room. Phones rang constantly, emails flew back and forth with legal teams, and I personally verified production lines in multiple countries. Every day was a high-wire act, balancing logistics, partnerships, and pressure from a world that suddenly seemed determined to test us. Then, in the midst of the chaos, I received a call from Victor Larson himself. Claire, take a deep breath. You've done something no one else could. This isn't just about survival. It's about showing the industry what real innovation looks like. Don't let threats distract you from your mission. His words ignited something I hadn't felt in weeks: clarity and resolve. The next day, I addressed our team. They can try to stop us. They can try to scare us. But we built this to last, to serve people who need it, not to fit corporate comfort zones. Nothing can take that away. As the words left my lips, I felt the weight of every destroyed prototype, every dismissive comment, every long night of rebuilding. And I realized something crucial. We weren't just creating products anymore. We were creating a movement. Just when I thought we could finally breathe, an unexpected visitor appeared at our workshop. Someone who could either destroy everything in a single decision or change our future forever. The knock at the workshop door echoed like a thunderclap. I froze. Every alarm in my mind went off. Who could this be? I had been careful. Security, controlled access, vetted visitors. And yet, here was someone unexpected. Naomi stepped forward first. Claire, I didn't schedule anyone for today. The door creaked open, and in walked Marcus Hayes. The room went still. The air thickened. My team instinctively stepped back, but I didn't flinch. Claire, Marcus said, his voice smooth but strained. We need to talk, privately. I raised an eyebrow. You mean to threaten, intimidate, or grovel? He hesitated, a flicker of something unguarded crossing his face. None of that. I saw what happened at the conference, and I realized I was wrong. Naomi's eyes narrowed. Marcus, really? After everything? I want to make it right, he said, almost whispering. I have access to a network of distributors and investors who could accelerate your rollout. I know I don't deserve it, but this is about the users, not me. I studied him carefully. Could I trust him? After years of sabotage, public humiliation, and deliberate destruction of my prototypes, the idea of forgiveness was alien. Why now? I asked, voice steady. Why suddenly care about the mission you ignored for 2 years? His shoulders slumped. Because I've seen the impact. Emails, reports, pictures from the field. I can't unsee it. I almost destroyed something that could change lives, and I can't live with that. For a long moment, the workshop was silent. My team exchanged glances, tension and disbelief mixing with hope. Finally, I spoke. Marcus, this isn't about your redemption. It's about the people who rely on this work. If you can genuinely help them, not me, not the company, then maybe there's a place for your involvement. But any attempt to control, manipulate, or claim credit will be immediately shut down. He nodded, solemn. Agreed. I just want to help the work succeed. Naomi exhaled quietly. Then let's move forward carefully. We don't need distractions. Over the next several weeks, Marcus's access to global contacts proved invaluable, but I remained in charge of every technical decision, every production line, and every distribution pathway. For the first time, my vision wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. amplified by the right people and tempered by hard-won lessons. Watching the first batch of devices arrive in remote villages, seeing children navigate safely to school, adults reclaim independence, and communities establish repair networks, I finally understood the storm, the sabotage, the betrayal, even the threats. All of it had led to this moment. Not revenge. Not recognition. Impact. And just as I thought the journey was complete, a message arrived that no one could have anticipated, one that would test everything we'd built and change the course of our mission forever. The message was simple, just 3 words on my phone screen. We're ready. Now. It was from Adira Vale, chairperson of the foundation. She had coordinated with international partners to roll out our mechanical mobility devices on a massive scale, faster than we ever imagined possible. I felt a mixture of disbelief and exhilaration. After months of sabotage, betrayal, threats, and sleepless nights, our work was finally being recognized for what it truly was, a lifeline for people who had been overlooked for too long. Naomi and I stepped into the workshop, and I saw my team gathered around the prototypes, eyes wide, faces lit with excitement. "This is it," I said. All those nights, all the setbacks, every obstacle, it led to this moment. We coordinated shipments to 12 countries, and the feedback was instantaneous. Photos and messages poured in, children traversing rough terrain safely, adults regaining independence, communities repairing and maintaining devices themselves. The numbers were impressive, yes, but the human stories, the smiles, the letters, the relief, were priceless. Victor Larson visited our workshop one afternoon, eyes gleaming with pride. "Claire," he said, placing a hand on my shoulder, "you didn't just survive. You transformed an entire division and proved that innovation, integrity, and perseverance matter more than any corporate politics." I smiled, feeling the weight of everything lift just slightly. "It wasn't just me," I said. "The team, Naomi, the foundation, we all made this possible. But I have to admit, there's a certain satisfaction in seeing those who tried to stop us confronted with the reality of what we've built." Even Marcus, surprisingly, had found his place, working under strict oversight to contribute connections and logistical expertise. But for the first time, I knew the work would not be compromised. Our vision was intact. Months later, at an international mobility summit, I watched a young girl navigate a field using one of our wheelchairs, her laughter echoing across the open space. A man from a remote village demonstrated a prosthetic device to a local journalist, explaining how it allowed him to return to work. I felt a profound sense of purpose. Not just validation, not just professional success, but real impact. Every destroyed prototype, every undermined effort, every sleepless night had led to this creation that mattered. And I realized something crucial. Sometimes the most effective revenge isn't anger or retaliation. It's creation. Building something undeniable, something that touches lives, something so powerful that those who tried to diminish it are left confronting their own smallness. I stood in the workshop, looking at the devices lined up, ready to ship, ready to change lives. I smiled quietly, knowing this was only the beginning. Sometimes the world will try to destroy your work, your ideas, even your dreams. But if you fight, rebuild, and create with integrity, the impact you leave will speak louder than any act of sabotage ever could.